Hey everyone, it's Josiah Willis here with Caliber Real Estate in the Bellevue office. Today, as you can see with my cartoonish handwriting, we're going to be talking about utilizing softwares and websites in your search for finding the perfect property for you. So before we begin, I want to let you know that I'm going to be completely honest and pull back the curtain, so to speak, on some of these home search sites to explain to you how they work. And I'm going to expose the secrets that they may or may not want you to know. So I'll be talking from an as objective viewpoint as possible, so you can get the accurate info that you need that's not biased from these sites. Now it's important that you stay to the end though, because I have some exciting search info and a bonus explanation on how to get into a house and house hack your way to an investment portfolio in the fastest way possible. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you stay to the end of this video to get access to that information. It's the fastest way. House hacking is the fastest way to build a rental empire for yourself while you go out and find a place to live for yourself as well. Okay, so let's dive in. So since technology has changed so much with regards to home buying and selling, the majority of home buyers now find the house they eventually purchase on their own instead of actually a real estate agent finding it for them and sending it to them. Now, that still does happen, but it's stated that around 80 to 90% of home buyers start their search online. So here's a rundown of the popular home search websites that you may find useful in your search for your property. So number one is the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. This is actually a database that real estate agents such as myself use when posting properties for sale. Pretty much all other websites access this database either directly or indirectly, and I'll explain this in more detail. When you hear an agent say, such as myself, on market, this means the property is listed with the listing agent on the Northwest Multiple Listing Service in this area for all to see. So some properties are off-market properties, which means owners or sellers are in communication with the buyer or investor directly, which isn't available for all to see. We here at Caliber source hundreds of deals a year for clients off-market, but most real estate brokerages don't deal in off-market properties to that extent. Some of these properties include foreclosures, REOs, short sales, and properties owned by sellers we've developed personal relationships with through our marketing campaigns. So how it works really is the Northwest Multiple Listing Service is a giant database, and this database is run by a nonprofit, the Northwest Multiple Listing Service in this case. So us agents, we post listings to this database, and then from there a lot of other websites feed off of that data, like I said, indirectly or directly. So you won't be seeing, you as a home buyer won't be seeing the actual Northwest Multiple Listing Service listing unless an agent such as myself sends you a listing from the MLS, but the information in the Northwest Multiple Listing Service actually feeds all these other websites that brokerages have, and that I'll be getting into shortly. Okay, so the first website that you could use is actually a brokerage, any brokerage website. So that could be Windemere, it could be Caliber, it could be Redfin, it could be any other, John L. Scott. Most of these brokerages, if not all, actually have their own website, and it's called an IDX website. Actually, is what it's called, that feeds from the MLS. So an IDX stands for, it's really boring, I know, but it stands for. So the first source, besides the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, would be a brokerage's website. So a brokerage could be John L. Scott, could be Caliber, could be Redfin, could be Windemere. Anyway, each one of these brokerages has a custom website called an IDX. So each brokerage enters into an agreement with the Northwest Multiple Listing Service using a third-party company that links the Northwest Multiple Listing Service to their website for a data feed through an IDX site. Yeah, it's all technical and boring, but an IDX stands for Internet Data Exchange. Now this is where things get interesting. So listen up. This is where Zillow comes into play. So Zillow is obviously, you're probably familiar with, one of the top search websites that is available, but oftentimes it has incorrect information for a couple of reasons. They're not a brokerage, so the MLS does not allow for them to enter into a contractual agreement to access listing info directly. So Zillow must pull data from other sources such as other websites, other brokerages' websites, or other sources of information to get property information to you. Also, they allow sellers to actually post their own property in on their website, which oftentimes sellers are actually not quite, what's the word? honest or they're not accurate with some of the information they're posting, because they might be posting that they have a 3-bedroom house when in reality it's a 2-bedroom house because the septic isn't perked for 3 bedrooms, or it was an unpermitted addition. So oftentimes you'll find misinformation on Zillow. The other reason why Zillow sometimes is incorrect is because it actually there's a delay, so that sometimes it's not up to date like other websites would be, or it's not as up to date on property statuses like active, pending, and sold. There's a little bit of a delay. It's generally pretty good now, but there's a little bit of delay because it's not directly linked to the Northwest Multiple Listing Service like other websites are. Oh, and as far as a Zestimate goes, it's more accurate in the cookie cutter development where homes are close to the same in all aspects: finishes, sizing, number of beds and baths. Otherwise, values become less accurate since Zillow's algorithm doesn't see inside of people's homes for updates, floor plan changes. You get the point. So Zillow is still a good way to find properties, as it's one of the most common sites people use today to find properties. However, be mindful of these drawbacks and don't count on the Zestimate as the law of the land. Now Trulia is actually owned by Zillow. It's another really popular site you could use, but it's pretty much the same scenario as Zillow because it's not a brokerage and it's owned by Zillow. Redfin, however, is another one that's popular. It's actually a brokerage, so they can partner directly with MLS like other brokerages and their websites do. Redfin's estimate is probably like Zillow's estimate, though, because it's an algorithm that can't really explain the true value of what's inside the 4 walls of a house, or the unique view, or being on a corner lot, etc. But since Redfin is a brokerage, they often have much more detailed information on listings like HOA fees, past history of the property, flood zone info, sewer system info, whether it's septic or public, and things of that nature. So don't be fooled by their 1% list fee pitch though, because as a seller, you may pay them 1% on the listing side, but you're required to pay the buying agent 3% for bringing you someone. So as a seller, you end up paying around 4%, and they like to always say, 1% listing fee. Well, there's more fees baked in that they don't like to talk about, because that's not really the whole scenario. So just be aware of that. Another popular website is actually Realtor.com. Now Realtor.com gets information from the MLS because of its relationship with the National Association of Realtors, which is made up of realtors which are licensed real estate agents that join the National Association of Realtors. I myself actually can't consider myself a realtor, and I never market myself as that because I don't pay the fee to be a part of the National Association of Realtors, mainly because in my opinion they charge you fees to join, and the benefits don't really outweigh the costs in my opinion. So that's why I never call myself a realtor, but I am a real estate agent. So sorry, that's kind of a rabbit trail, but Realtor.com does have a good property info on their listings, like the Redfin does, because they do have access to the MLS directly. So these are the main websites that most people use to search for properties, but you can use just about any brokerage's website. So Windemere, John L. Scott, Remax, Caliber. You like how I casually threw that in there, huh? Actually, Caliber is a brokerage, so it does get access to the detailed listing data like Redfin and Realtor.com, but it also allows you to search foreclosure properties via our proprietary online portal through our website that can be accessed through our website. This is actually unique to Caliber, so if you made it this far into the video, congrats. You're not a quitter, like 95% of the population that would have gone to play Fortnite or binge watch Netflix by now. So in summary, your best search tool is probably a real estate brokerage website like Caliber, Redfin, John L. Scott, etc. because the search data is going to be more accurate, reliable, updated in live time, and will get updated statuses, active, pending, and sold. You'll also get much more data about a property from websites like these. So that's sort of the gist of searching for a property. So I haven't forgot, I will share with you the bonus if you made it this far with house hacking. This is actually really exciting. So house hacking is by far the fastest and easiest way to build an incredible real estate portfolio for yourself without requiring huge amounts of money for a down payment, but also low interest rates. So people who house hack can end up with cash flowing rental properties over their lifetime and tons of equity across multiple properties in a very efficient, streamlined way. So what is this trick, and why do I keep stalling from telling you? because I'm cruel. No, I'm just kidding. So house hacking is when a buyer looking for a primary residence purchases a property with generally a 3 to 3.5% down payment with a conventional or FHA loan, depending on whether or not the buyer is a first-time home buyer or not. But they will rent out a portion of their property to somebody else while they live there as well. Then after 6 to 12 months or so, they move out and buy another primary residence to move into and replace their vacancy on the first house with another renter that can cover the first property's mortgage with a little bit of cash flow, hopefully, if you do things right. But buying a house with little down and utilizing a primary residence mortgage will allow for the cheapest rate available and the least amount from a down payment perspective required. That's why this method is so effective. The caveat, though, is that you need to intend to live in the first house as a primary residence for a specific period of time, because banks won't give you a good rate or allow you to put less than 25% down on a home if they know you won't be living there and you will be just be treating the property as a rental. I say 25% down in this case because that's the most common amount required by banks as a down payment if the property is going to be a rental property that you won't be living in, sorry. So depending on the bank, they may do check-ins to see that you are still in the house, so you need to be careful and also make sure you stay in the first house long enough to satisfy a decent timeline before moving on to the next purchase of another house. This process works best actually with multifamily properties. This would include like duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and that anything over a fourplex, like a fiveplex or more, is considered commercial. So you're basically capped at multifamily at 4 if you're going to use this same method. Other properties that actually work well too are properties with ADU or a DADU. An ADU stands for accessory dwelling unit, and a DADU stands for detached accessory dwelling unit. So basically an ADU is a city permitted addition with its own living space, either within the house or detached from the house. So think like a mother-in-law space that has its own kitchen and bedroom, bathroom. This is easy to rent out separately, obviously. But over time, you can continue to build a portfolio of houses by using this method, all while covering your mortgage payments and hopefully cash flowing the properties while you move from one house to the next. The great thing about this method too is that banks will factor your rental income, usually 75% of the income from these homes, to qualify you for your personal income for obtaining a new loan. So basically 75% of the rental income is counted as what you would make a year in addition to your job income or salary. So you can more quickly borrow for another property with this added income. This process then accelerates exponentially as property appreciation on each property you own increases over time, and your rental income increases over time as you keep acquiring more. And you basically continue to do this. Over time you build a huge portfolio with tons of equity from appreciation and tons of rental income, and then you can use that to either borrow against your equity and keep financing more deals, or continue to build your income from rentals and raising rents to keep going with the cycle. So it's pretty cool. Would love to talk to you more about it if you're interested. Here at Caliber, we actually do source off-market multifamily properties for people, or even on-market, but we're very well versed in understanding the ins and outs of this awesome strategy. So if you're interested, give me a call. If you are interested in just buying a primary residence and moving in and not worrying about any of that, you can still give me a call. I'd love to help you. But this is once again Josiah Willis with Caliber Real Estate here in Bellevue. My number is 360-560-8073, and feel free to give me a call. I will be sending some more informational videos for your benefit, whether or not you choose me to represent you or not, or a friend of yours. That's completely your decision. I don't work with everyone, like I like to say, but I would love to at least have a conversation and see if I can help you from a creative standpoint that most agents wouldn't be able to help you. So with that being said, take care, and look forward to more of my videos. All right, thanks guys.